Hey guys, it's Wednesday. It is February 3rd and time for another edition of the Topher Spin Meteorites Hangout. It's a little bit of a busy day for me, so we're going to cut it a little bit short today. Hopefully, we have an hour of content for you guys out on YouTube. We didn't want to leave you hanging. We got a lot of new fans, so I really appreciate that. We're at over 68 hours viewed every day on our knowledge bolide that we're building together, and over 730 subscribers. I'm driving to 1,000. That's my goal. So on December 14th or thereabouts, I was 340. So we've come a long way in the last like 2 months. Let's get over 1,000. So if you're watching right now, hit the subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate that. I do have one correction that I'd like to put out right in front of this video. Last week, and when I do these lives, there's a lot going on behind the scenes and a lot scattered in the brain. And I sometimes say things that are incorrect, and I always like to be corrected. So last week, I may have inadvertently said that I synced the Chelyabinsk audio video. I did not do that. That was done by a YouTuber by the name of Skyfall Under the Scope. He's a subscriber to the station. He saw his content and was extremely happy and was like, oh my God. And then I claimed that I created it, and he's like, not cool, dude. So we've exchanged some comments, and we're both men about the deal. So I want to give him proper credit. So Skyfall Under the Scope is the one who actually did the audio syncing. I was trying to communicate that I then found this rare stuff because he's a subscriber, and finished the editing and put it all together. So that's one thing I wanted to clarify. But right now I want to show off. I'm proud of this too. Pat Brown has a huge meteorite.
Yeah, so I got a visit by the mailman the other day, and so you're seeing this in through a crappy camera that I'm working on replacing. Way too much noise. But so this is a combination of LED light bounced off the ceiling and reflected cross-polarized light from a light ring around the camera lens. So I saw a picture of this, actually on the video that Topher did from Quartzite. Ismaili Mohammed's table, he had a bunch of interesting things. And this was sitting back there, and
it was actually too big for me to start moving. My wrist was hurting, so I didn't really highlight it, but Pat picked it out.
Yeah, so I saw this in fairly low resolution, but with different lighting, and see all the holes.
Yeah.
So I guessed from the photos that those were chondrule blowouts, and it turns out that that's in fact what they are, I believe. Now I went and bought some more ultrasonic brushes to clean out the holes with and see what I see down the hole, but didn't get as far as cleaning it up today. But this thing is just gets better and better and better every time I look at it. We're not going to be able to have a guess the weight yet, because even though I bought a scale off Amazon, we'll talk about that later. I'll have some recommendations soon about what not to buy, probably mostly. But this thing, Ismaili had it marked as 8.35 kilograms. And on the bathroom scale, it was a little north of 18 pounds, which would make it right about 8 kilograms. But on this crummy scale that's not calibrated very well, it shows like 8.335 or thereabouts. So it is It is completely, totally amazing. The this area down in here, under the better cross-polarized light setup, is just shoulder-to-shoulder chondrules, and these chondrule blowouts, the biggest of them are about a half an inch apart, or half an inch across, rather. Sorry.
Jeez.
Wow.
And they're amazingly deep too. You know, I can get my little finger in there. But this one is gonna be a beauty. So the bottom is sort of fractured, but you can see it's
gorgeous though.
Chock a block with chondrules as well, and lighting's not the best there, but well, that's not the best at all. Leave that down. There'll be more pictures of this one coming soon.
Yeah, it is remarkable. It's weird that he picked it out of the corner of his eye on one of my videos, and he's like, he circled it, and he's like, ask about this one.
Well, and the funny thing was, I saw your video just short of an hour after you had taken it. I wasn't quite live that day. I get up way too late. So I saw that, and I thought about it, and then I thought about it some more. After about 3-4 days, like, okay, I gotta get my man Topper on the task here. And
so Pat, that was broken off a larger piece.
The bottom is fractured. I haven't studied it real carefully, but I believe that there's secondary fusion crust on the bottom, or secondary remnant fusion crust.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can.
Now it's important to me to know the weight of this stone as well, Pat, because not only did I not issue you an official COA for it, but I want to issue the COA because it is the largest, heaviest meteorite I have sold in the 3 years I've been in business. So I definitely want it down to the gram, and I'm going to give you an official COA, and it's going to be marked largest chondrite ever sold to date.
If the next scale from Amazon is better than the one that I got yesterday, we should be able to get to within a couple tenths of a gram.
Nice.
And yeah, so maybe instead of guess the weight, maybe we should have a name the big ass meteorite.
Nice. Yeah, because we already have the beast.
Measure of weight.
Yeah.
Is heavy a unit measure of weight?
No, it's a measure of force. But
You should name that, don't you? Quartzite.
Quartzite. Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, we'll have a running contest, and next week we'll pick the.
It's gotta be something with the holes or the pits or something like that. Yeah. I'm feeling the groove on that. We gotta suggest some names together.
Well, there's more pits on the bottom side of it too, and showed it to ET, and he said, well, "Is that can be vesicular inside? I don't know. That'd be super ultra cool if it were."
Yeah, we'd renegotiate a purchase price if it is.
Yeah.
No.
There's a box on the way to your house, which was supposed to have already made it there, but 2 or 3 days priority mail service is not 2 or 3 days in the times of COVID.
Yeah.
I did, following Topper's suggestion, I also went and got some switch my camera here. Got some cell phone stands, and these are all off of Amazon. I think this one was about $10. This one, which is actually pretty cool looking, was like $12, and this one was 10 or 11. This one's actually aluminum. This one's plastic. But I learned Toper's secret of the close-up meteorite cam on the webpage here, and he suggested looking at some of these. So I'm going to be playing with these and an old tablet that has a pretty decent phone in it, and see if I can up my game on.
Because here's what I currently use. This one right here. And I like it because I can set my phone here during the day and it charges. I can set it up here and it charges. It telescopes up and down. So I can get really tall. You can almost do flat photography you need to. So
And
yeah, I highly recommend them.
so this is that smaller tablet, and it can go, it can mount like this with the camera free. And these things really do articulate. I may have to pimp out one of them with some fancy lighting.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, back to you, Toper.
Awesome. I'm going to pause for 1 second. So, all right, Pat, thank you very much for sharing that large chondrite, man. I can't wait to find the final weight of it. And then classification is going to be cool. So stay tuned and we'll keep updating you guys as the weeks go on. Now's the time on Sprockets when we dance. So we're gonna check in with some of our friends from overseas. We have Maxime and Marco, and the actual special thing is we have Maxime with us live tonight. So yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't give a crap about work. He's hanging out with the Meteorite guys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So the very first video that we have today is a video. Oh, I forgot to animate it, guys. I forgot. The very first video that we have today. I love that smile of Marco. This is a video that I've been trying to get in on one of the Hangouts for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And I just thought it was really important. It's a really cool short video from a guy who knows what a oriented meteorite should be. So Marco gives us his 4 requirements for an oriented meteorite.
Hello everyone. I hope you're all doing good and you have a great hangout. Unfortunately, I'm not able to join live today. It was so much fun the last 3 weeks. But my work started again, and because of that, yeah, I'm lying in bed right now. Yeah, at the last weeks I showed you some examples of my collection of oriented meteorites, and today I want to show you or give you an idea what characterizes oriented meteorite. So which features have to be visible to call a meteorite oriented. Let's start. Yeah, guys, it's very important for me to point out that the criteria that I'm showing now are my personal criteria to characterize a meteorite as an oriented meteorite. So let's start. Yeah, the first criteria is the aerodynamical form. Here you can see an oriented meteorite with its direction of flight, and you can clearly see the aerodynamical form of the piece.
That's gorgeous.
That's amazing.
The second criteria is that a meteorite should show radial flow lines or elongated ragmaglets. Here we have a nice example of radial flow lines. On this image you can see elongated ragmaglets.
Wow, I want a stone with them. I do not have one. Man.
That is totally sexy. Absolutely.
Oh,
Hello
I did it
everyone.
again.
I fusion crust. On this image, you can see elongated ragmaglets.
I want that.
If we have a look on the back side or the trailing side of oriented meteorite, it shows so-called roll overlapping. Here we have an example of a roll overlap on the back side of an oriented meteorite.
That's a hard lip too.
And another criteria on the backside of an oriented meteorite is a frothy, bubbly fusion crust. Look at all those bubbles on that piece. Yeah, that's a frothy fusion crust. Yeah, now my personal opinion is that if 3 of the 4 criteria are fulfilled, we can call a meteorite oriented. If only 2 criteria or 1 criteria is fulfilled, we talk about flight marking. And of course, if all 4 criteria are fulfilled, a meteorite is highly oriented. Yeah guys, here we have an example of a highly oriented meteorite. So let's look on the criteria. First, you can see a clearly aerodynamic form. Then, it shows radial flow lines. On its back side, it shows roll overlapping. And of course, a frothy, bubbly fusion crust.
Wow.
So this piece is definitely highly oriented. Yeah, and here we have an example of a flight marked meteorite. So if we have a look on the piece, it shows definitely an aerodynamical form. Look at those noses here. It's also flat on its backside, but we don't see any radial flow lines on that piece. We don't see a roll overlap, and we don't see frothy fusion crust. So only 1 criteria is fulfilled, which is the aerodynamical form. So this piece is definitely not oriented, but it shows signs of flight marking. Yeah, and now of course it's very interesting to see what means orientation. How does such an oriented meteorite form? And for that, we will have a look in the field guide of meteorites. There's a very, very interesting picture in there that shows how oriented meteorites form. Yeah, on this image we can see 3 scenarios during the atmospheric flight of a meteorite. Yeah, let's start with the first scenario on the left side of that picture. So that is what happens with most meteorites. Most meteorites during the atmospheric flight tumble in all directions, and this leads to almost spherical and very smooth forms. Yeah, here you can see the meteorite tumbling around on scenario 1. Yeah, this piece shows absolutely no orientation. It shows a smooth surface, so that is really a standard shape of a meteorite. And now it becomes interesting, because if a meteorite rotates on only one axis, that's the scenario in the middle of the picture, then so-called nose cone oriented meteorites can form. Yeah, and here on scenario 2 you see the formation of a nose cone. Yeah, here we have some examples of nose cone oriented meteorites.
Just beautiful.
And last but not least, on the right side of the picture, you can see a so-called shield form of oriented meteorite. That happens if a stone has a completely stable flight during the atmospherical entry, and this leads to shield forms.
Like Barnstable.
Here we have the shield shape forming of meteorites. And here's some examples of heat shield oriented meteorites. Yeah, guys, I hope you liked this little educational video regarding the orientation of meteorites. I wish you a great hangout. I'm looking forward to see everything tomorrow on YouTube. And have fun, guys, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Marco. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now you guys know why I've been jonesing to get that video in there for the last several weeks. I mean, that is fantastic content from a man who knows his oriented meteorites. Yeah, I thought that was a really great video for him to put together. And again, like he said, it's his criteria and it's his requirements of 1 versus 2 and 3 versus a hyper-oriented one. I don't have a hyper-oriented one in my collection. I'm always on the lookout. So if someone's getting rid of a hyper-oriented one, let me know. I do have one that I want to show off, and it's one of my favorite falls ever, Chelyabinsk. So this one, we'll take a vote on it, and we'll see if we can call this oriented or not. First off, it definitely has the flight aerodynamic shape.
Shield shape, yep.
It has a rollover lip.
Yep.
And I don't touch it very often, but frothy fusion.
Yep.
Frothy
Type
bubbly fusion.
Yep.
So and then the fourth one, what was the fourth one? Oh, radial flow lines. I don't have radial flow lines.
Yeah, so the flow line one is a bit more complicated in that in some super fresh meteorites like this that have a lot of texture to the fusion crust because of large crystals in the meteorite material itself, you won't necessarily see flow lines. And then, and of course, if a stone is very sandblasted, you won't see flow lines. But I would consider that to be a fully oriented stone, and I would call it a shield shape.
Nice.
The fact that the rollover lip, it's not just that you can see a line where the lip is, you can actually see little drip points.
Yeah.
So
up on top, there's a tiny bit of lines, but yeah,
yep.
you really get to.
Yeah, I would call that passes my test as a fully oriented meteorite.
Nice. This is one of my best examples of Chelyabinsk, and I love it.
I have a lot on the way from the Ukraine that is a bunch of small oriented Chelyabinsk.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of small Chelys. I mean, there's I don't know, probably 200 of them in here.
The ones with those little drip points, and for some reason, the smaller fragments tend to orient more readily. I'm sure there's something in the physics of the plasma ball out in front of that high energy event. Has something to do with that.
Well, yes, or 2 days ago was a pretty important date for meteorites. It was the anniversary of Viñales, the Cuban fall. It happened in 2019, so it was the 2-year anniversary of that fall. And I remember where I was the day it fell in Tucson. I remember where I was on the first anniversary of the fall in Tucson. And I remember where I was the anniversary of the second fall in Chandler, Arizona by myself, not shopping for rocks with all my friends in Tucson. But I figured since it's the 2-year anniversary of Viñales, a Cuban witnessed fall, I'd show you some of my larger examples of Viñales. So I have 4 samples and they go up in size. Let me go ahead and spotlight that. So here's the first one, starting in at, oh, by the way, here's my my ID for it. So it's a L6 chondrite, and this one is 36 grams. Still has the red Cuban mud on it. A little brecciation or shock veining there. Now, this one you can tell that there are fresher spots on it and not so fresh spots. So I believe what that's telling me is that, well, I'm not exactly sure because now I'm seeing like different levels of fusion crust too. But you can definitely see a really fresh white patch there. Maybe that's just secondary fusion crust that's really, really light.
Could easily be. The secondary fusion crust sometimes is a different color. And you know, if the rock was, you know, sitting on a surface, it could be, you know, one end of it could be a little damp and the other end could be high and dry. So
Thank you. So this was our, we're calling it baby Viñales, but that one comes in around 36 grams. Then we're jumping up to, well, not jumping, but going to 42 grams. And this is one of my favorites here. I love the shape of this one. And it's super fresh. Yeah, this is a pre-rain stone, so this was never rained on.
that's
and
beautiful.
You can tell because it's
Yeah.
absolutely pure white, no oxidation. And this is probably the first time I've touched it in a year. But look at the Cuban sand on it.
Oh,
And it has a rollover.
is that yellow mark up top? Is that roadway lane marking?
I'm not sure. I don't know the history of this one.
Because I think some of them were recovered off of a road and had
it was recovered right away. I know that.
yeah. Well,
wow, that would be super cool.
Yeah, check with our Viñales on the ground experts.
Yeah, wow, that would be super cool. I mean, everything's a hammerstone because it eventually hits the ground, but to hit a hammerstone has to hit a man-made object. So a man-made object could be a street. And if you look there, you got some really nice fusion crusts on that little lip, but really a super fresh stone. So this is one of my favorites, and it comes in at 42 grams, 42.4 grams. Now we jump into the 50 gram. So this is 51.5 grams. And you'll notice that it's a little bit different than the other ones.
Ooh, that's pretty.
It definitely has secondary fusion crust. And I even think that there may be some impact melting in this one. just based on the way it feels. But yeah, this one obviously broke up during incandescent flight and continued.
Yeah, and there's a rollover lip there too, in the upper left. I think that's rollover lip of the primary fusion crust over the secondary fusion crust area.
Viñales is just beautiful. I should have got I have a slice out of it, but I didn't get it out. But yeah, so that's a really nice 50 grammer, 51 grammer. Then we jump to the biggest one I have. It's 126 grams. And it's so big that it shattered the case. Which I guess is a good problem to have, you know?
Yeah, I would say that's a first world problem.
Yeah. So this is my puppy.
Oh,
You can really see the difference in the weathering. The weathering on this one, even in the white spots, still shows not significant, but shows weathering versus the other sample was pristine. But really good fusion crust on it as well. Yeah. See, the shows a little bit more weathering than the other one, but it's still not that bad. But you get those brown patches of fusion crust that you also see in Chelyabinsk too. I think that's from the water.
Am I seeing some iridescence on that one too?
It is a little bit shiny up in here, if that's what you're seeing, because it
Yeah.
does look a little blue. And I'm looking at it in real time, not through my camera lens.
Yeah,
And
it's hard.
over here and here does, well, I can use my patent pending thing. Yeah, right here and here look
Yeah.
to be like really shiny.
Mhm. Yep.
But
And the black stripe across the brown fusion crust there, that's wild.
I was trying to figure that out. I was looking for that to continue in here as a shock vein or through here, but it doesn't. So it's I didn't know what that was. But frothy, bubbly fusion crust, as my man Marco would say.
Yeah. Every one of these space rocks is a story.
Yeah, seriously. And I think that's why we are obsessed with them as much as we are, because even if you have a few samples, they don't look the same. They're always going to have different characteristics. And that's, part of the joy of collecting, Plus, they're less expensive than Corvettes.
A moment in time.
Yeah. So that's some of my Viñales that I have, part of my inventory. But we're talking about orientation today. I don't see any hands up. Let me check. Nope, I don't see any hands up. So, hey, John Higgins is on board. I want to show off a piece of Mars that shows orientation. This item is available for purchase, but there is someone putting a deposit on it the 24th of the month, and he understands if someone beats him to it, they get it first. So this is a amazing piece of Mars, NWA 12594. It comes in at 7.1 grams. I'm trying to figure out how I want to hold it without damaging it.
oh my.
Okay.
Oh.
So we have radial flow lines. Almost dripping. Wow. Come on, phone. All right. Let me hold it like this then.
Do you have iridescence on that as well?
Look, that's the underside. It does at different times look to be different colors, especially on this front side.
Yeah.
I have a bright light on it right now, and I have all kinds of things in my office, so I would have to go out in the sunlight to be 100%,
Mhm.
committal on that.
Mhm.
But look at those
And
really.
that's just so vitreous and shiny.
Let me see if I can get better lighting. There we go. And then you do have a natural cleave on it, so you can see the inside of the sugartite.
Ooh, and you see at least a couple shock planes in there too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like 3 different layers.
Yeah.
So this piece is only missing a tiny bit of crust right there on the corner. You can see those lines just swoop around the corner.
Mhm.
Yeah, just a remarkable piece of Mars, and it gets me still that I'm holding
Whoa.
Mars.
Yeah.
Boy, we've got an exciting bit of science coming up in a couple of weeks here of the Perseverance rover landing on Mars.
Yeah, that is going. I'm following that and making sure that I stay in the loop, and we'll definitely bring updates here on the Hangouts.
Yeah, they're going to use the sky crane maneuver, of course, this time, but this time they've instrumented the whole thing with cameras and microphones, all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be quite a show.
Mhm.
Yeah, last time they had a setup that allowed them to take 5 pictures per second. Then what they did is those 5 frames were then assembled into a video, very obviously low frame rate video, 5 frames per second, and it was sent back to Earth afterwards. So the difference with Perseverance is, like Pat said, they have cameras and microphones, numerous ones, and it's going to be live. Truly live, meaning, a 14-minute delay or whatever the signal delay is, but it's not going to be cached in a spacecraft, assembled and then sent to us the next morning. So we're going to see the most we're going to see science unfold as this thing. And if people don't know what the sky crane is, it's basically the rover that they're putting on Mars is so heavy that you can't build a parachute big enough to slow the descent, and it would just crash on the ground. So what the sky crane does is it basically comes down, and as it's coming down, it fires retro rockets to slow the descent. Once it gets to a certain height, it then disengages and the rover drops down onto the ground. Once the rover has touched down, the umbilical cord is cut, the retro rockets fire at an angle, and the top half flies away and hopefully crashes within camera view, as it did last time, actually. So that's what the sky crane is, and how they're delivering Perseverance to the surface of Mars by dropping it with a parachute at first to slow the descent. Once it gets through the Mars atmosphere, they're going to drop the heat shield off. Then they're going to fire their retro rockets to slow it, drop the rover on umbilical cord. Once it touches, take off. So I see Pat wants to be highlighted.
Yeah, got a couple more things. Also, Topper, if you'd make me co-host, I'll help people with their audio.
Thank you.
So we were talking about orientation, and I certainly agree with all of those measures of orientation. One more that we've touched on before, that's a fun one, is riders on the back side. So this is a shield-shaped meteorite, obviously not very complete, got a big piece broken off of it, but is definitely a shield shape, and it shows a rollover lip, and it shows a bunch of nice bubbles on the fusion crust. When I picked this one, actually, Ruben Garcia picked this one up before I did, And he said, look at this. Looks like there might be stuff on the back. And I said, Ruben, I'll give you a $20 finder fee to let me buy that rock. And he did. But this was all a big mound of dirt. And after I got home, I cleaned it up. And
Surprise, surprise.
there's a whole bunch of riders. There's a whole pile of them.
Man.
So that's another feature of orientation.
That's really cool.
Matt,
Thank you.
when you say riders, what do you mean?
So
Yeah.
they're actually pieces of the meteorite that it's a high pressure area on the front face, low pressure area on the back, and so the rollover lip, of course, is just a fusion crust going over, and then it bubbles in the back. These are actually chunks off the edge of the meteorite that break off and then migrate around to the front, or they could be captured blobs from other pieces of the meteorite is coming in. I don't like this camera. Got to do some more work on that. But I've also seen a meteorite that was sliced, that was a shield shaped, that had these riders, and embedded in the fusion crust, you can see fragments off of the leading edge of the meteorite that are captured in the crust. And then I had one other one. I've shown this one once or twice before, but I wanted to see if I could show off the yeah, there you go. So again, this is a mixture of high power LED bounced off the ceiling and reflected cross polarized light around the camera. And
Wow.
this was one that funny. There's another theme on this one. So we were at Sahara Overland last year at Tucson, and Stephen Amara had picked this one up and said, I don't know, that's kind of a lot of money. So he negotiated a better price with Adam Aronson, and then he handed it to me. And I bought it.
Nice.
But you can see
The lighting is working now. You can it's almost X-ray vision.
Yeah, when you get the reflected cross polarized light, and yours is in the mail on the way, Topper.
Nice.
When you get it set up, it's even more striking under the microscope than it is like this. But you can see that there's some big chondrules in there, and they're cheek by jowl, not much matrix. And this one is very light on magnetic attraction, and the big one is also very light. So because of chondrule size and because of light magnetic attraction, it's probably going to be an LL, and this one as well.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, and it's cool to, when I go to the shows, I try to go to a lot of shows, but COVID doesn't like me. I love doing personal shopping for people as well. So people tell me, keep a look at, like, I know what Pat wants anyways. I know what John Mixter's looking for, oddball. But anyone who wants to give me their personal shopping list, I'll hook up the best deal I possibly can for you guys. Mike Kelly, my man. How are you, buddy?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
So you wanted to talk Vinales, so figured to pull a couple of the pieces I got out. So, you had mentioned, it hit 2 years ago, basically right when Tucson was going on. So this was a piece that I got off of Mike Farmer with some crust, 8 days fresh. So it had just landed 8 days ago when this got released, and that was like first day buy.
That's crazy.
So,
9 days ago, it was like past the moon. And yeah, it's crazy.
And then you mentioned John Higgins being on a call, so of course I had to upgrade. John, we went down there, hunted, bought, so this is a John Higgins piece, and I'd shown this one off previously, but there's a tiny little speck of red paint on there, and that caught my eye, and I got in touch with John. I said, hey, is that part of a hammerstone? Like Pat was kind of mentioning, they hit different things, that yellow paint on yours, or yellow, whatever the marking is on yours, could be very curious. So I was wondering, is this a hammerstone? And he got back to me and said, no, it wasn't a hammerstone, but like all things, it's sometimes it's hard to get things moved around and get things out safely. So this stone actually got painted like that Cuban flag star on there,
Oh,
and that's actually residual from when it got safely back to the stateside. So I thought that was a very interesting story, and I love pieces with a good story.
Adds to the story so
Yeah.
much.
Cool.
And he was gracious enough to throw in the magnet with it. So it's one of my favorite little displays to have that to go along with it. And then some other cool stuff I got recently. This is one you don't see very often.
Ooh.
Axtell. So that's a CV3 out of Texas. And it's kind of got a really cool story to it. So it was plowed up when they were plowing a cotton field in 1943 by a Mr. Roy Parrish. And when he hit the stone the second time plowing the field, he chipped a piece off, and he took that piece over to Baylor University, where it was confirmed to be a meteorite. So that little chip allegedly stayed at Baylor, and then the main mass went back home with Mr. Parrish, where it pulled doorstop duty on his back porch up until like 1993 or so odd. So he passed away, his wife passed away, and then the mass moved on to one Blaine Reed. And parts of it then went on to Jim Schwade and also Marlon Siltz. So this piece has a R.A. Lang label on it. But I was just, when I saw this, I had to go after it. And it came as a piece along with one of the other cool ones I want to show today.
That's a beautiful chondrules on that one, man.
Oh yeah, that's a nice fresh slice.
Yeah.
Yeah, CV3s are so pretty inside.
Man, that's gorgeous. I can't believe someone would have a carbonaceous on their doorstep, you morons.
Yeah, and it was like a 6.2 kilogram total mass, and I think about half of it's tied up in institutions. So there's not a whole ton of it sitting around on the collector's market.
That's awesome that you got it, buddy.
Yeah, the one of the other pieces that came in that set that I got was this one, and this is Happy Canyon. So this is an old box. Obviously, this has been sitting in the collection for a long time, and it was labeled as E7, but it's actually it's an EL 6/7, and it's the only one that's classified as EL 6/7. Slightly larger stone up in the 16 kilograms, but it was also shares a common tie of plowed up in Texas, which apparently is a common occasion in Texas.
I need to buy some land in Texas.
Yeah. And then
go ahead, Pat. And what's really cool about that one, Mike, is not only the cool name, but you have the old label with the old classification. Because the packaging tells the story of that one as well.
Certainly. Yeah, and I, you know me, I'm mostly a micro guy, so Riker's boxes are not the par for the course for me. And this was the last one I picked up, and I thought this is a Franconia. I know you had discussed hunting Franconia a little while back, and that spurred me to kind of look up Franconia a little more, because I had a piece of Franconia, but I didn't realize that there were so many overlapping falls in that area.
Yes.
And it's really amazing how much different material is kind of in there from, I guess, I think it's like 20 to 40,000 years ago of overlapping strewn fields. But what caught my eye on this was while I was doing that research, I noticed that this had a number on there, JG0136. So that's either a person who expects to be finding a lot of meteorites, but to me, it looks like a field number. So I'm currently trying to hunt it down. And I know there were two primary people with the initials JG who really hunted Franconia when it was relatively new. And you can see on here, the date of find was Halloween in 2002.
That's cool.
So this is a pretty old find for Franconia.
Yeah.
So it's pretty early field find. And I'm trying to get confirmation on who I believe those initials belong to.
That is amazing. I'm trying to think of who. I think Randy Dyer may be a good person to ask.
Okay, I'll have to reach out.
Yeah, I hunted Franconia with him, and he's very knowledgeable. Lives in the area, has been hunting for years.
Yeah. I think that number belongs to John Williams, who was a big metal detector guy and also hunted Franconia really heavily in the early days, and is referenced in some of the early documentation. So.
Right. Yeah. And of course, Frank, one of the strewn fields that overlies with is Gold Basin. And yeah, so many of these were bycatch from metal detector for gold nuggets there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it also overlaps like the Buck Mountain pieces too. So that's,
Yes.
you know,
And
trying to put together a little set with a couple different things and saw Sacramento Wash 005. I know Topher, you had mentioned that little piece you had found that's got the potential to be a SAW 005 H metal. Which is also
haven't sent it out yet. I have 3 samples that I'm waiting to send to UCLA. Jason's going to look at them for me.
Nice.
And I have the Saw Mountain, hopefully 005. That'll be my 3rd or 4th meteorite find ever. So, Jason, give me your address, buddy.
Yeah. So putting together, you know, all the different types out of Franconia is kind of cool to make a little mini set.
Very cool. Very cool. I think at this time, Pat, if you would take a look at the chat, but we're also going to pause and we're going to take a little break for our international video. So hold on one second. We have Maxime with his check-in, and he's actually here now, so he could just do it live. Anyway, hold on a second. All right. We're checking in with Maxime Denoncin from Brussels. Here we go. Oh, I guess I need to push this button instead.
Hi everyone, so this week I was supposed to show you my setup, so here we go. Okay, so here is my setup. So the microscope I'm using the most is this one. So this is an entry-level microscope with a built-in screen. And yeah, it's not built to last. It's mainly made of plastic, and you can see it moves a lot here. So yeah, it's not the best microscope out there, but it's quite cheap actually. It's about $70. So it was okay for me because if you take care of it, it may last a little bit, not dozens of years, but yeah, I think it was enough for what I wanted to do. And so yes, now it's plugged to this screen. So you can see here it's a little Ishaevo slice, which is right here now. I don't know if you can see it. Yes, here it is. So actually it can take HD pictures and videos. So it was really great for me as I wanted to explore visually my collection. Then I also use another microscope, which is this one, and this is a better microscope, but it's a bit more difficult to take pictures with it. And what I'm using for this one is a digital ocular here, and I'm using a little Raspberry Pi right here to drive this digital ocular and get pictures on my computer. So yes, I mainly use this one for thin sections. And to polarize the light, I only use small polarizing sheets like this one. So I need to buy new ones because this one is scratched. But what I do is that I put one under, one over the thin section, and it's enough for me as I just want to observe and see the colors and try to learn. And yes, I don't want to take beautiful HD pictures of thin sections. So that's okay for me right now. But yes, so here is my setup, and I would highly recommend such microscope if you don't want to put a lot of money in it but still get some pictures. And yeah, the only cons is that you need to take care of it, as it is a bit fragile, I think. Next, I received this week a package from Topher with some great meteorites in it, and I decided to film it and to show you that during this hangout. So here we go. Let's open it. Wow. A lot of stuff in there. Oh. That's absolutely great. I was not waiting that, and that's nice. That's very nice. a little piece of Barnstable.
Mhm.
And in fact, I discovered the whole story of Barnstable this week. And after having read that story, I was like, okay, I need to buy one. And yeah, I didn't have to buy one. Now I have my own little Barnstable. That's absolutely great. Thank you so much, Topher. Oh yes, I'm very happy with that. Great. Malong. I have never heard of this one. It's wonderful. Look at that. That's absolutely amazing. Wow, some cards. That's great. Nice. I love stickers and yes, that's great. I will find a place to put them, maybe on my computer. I don't know, but I'll surely find. Thanks to you, Topher. That's already great. Oh, nice. I always need such bit of paper, so that's great. I will put that right here, and I will use it a lot, I think. Wow, great. Nice. Okay, what is that? Can this? Oh, from the Meteorite Mansion. Nice, 1 of 20. So that's a limited edition. Nice. There are many. There are various kinds of stuff in there. But some dust from Lunar, CM, Eucrite, CV. So that's great. There's a lot of that in there actually. Very, very nice. That's a lot of sand from Dorda. Hey, some coins, chocolate coins. Great.
Padding.
I will eat that later. Next, what do we have in there? Wow. So here I have some Tordos. 9 little Tordos, very nice. These are beautiful. And next are those Gourara 3. Amazing crust. I think you've probably seen some pictures on Facebook. And this is a very nice Eucrite. It has very nice fusion crust. That's gorgeous. Nice. I'm really happy. So yeah, that's absolutely great. There are a lot of things in there. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Topher, for that very nice package. And yeah, I'm so happy. That's absolutely great. Thank you so much, Topher.
You're welcome, my friend. You make it look good, Maxime.
Nice crust.
That actually fell off at the Meteorite Mansion, and I picked it up.
Mm.
That's awesome. Whoops. We don't want to watch you again.
Hi everyone. So this week I was
Awesome.
supposed to.
Hey, thank you so much, Marco. That was awesome. I honestly didn't watch the entire video. I watched up to the point where you said you were going to do a box opening, and then I knew that the video was good, so I put it in there. So that was my first time watching it. And you're so patient because at the end you're looking at the box, wondering, wait a second, where's my Escal?
Yes, exactly.
I can see it. I can see it in you. You're looking around. You're like, wait a second. All right. I forgot to pack one of his meteorites. Oh my God. So I have another package on the way to you, and I threw extra stickers and extra goodies in there for you. Anytime I'm sending something to a friend overseas, I'm going to throw extra crap in there. So
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
No,
don't worry about the missing as well.
thank you. I
That's okay.
appreciate it. Now we have Marco Gaisser's video check-in.
Hi everyone. Today I received a package from Morocco, from Aziz Habibi. So I think now it's time for my first unboxing video ever. Okay, let's have a look inside. Okay, so here it is. Let's have a look inside.
Caveman.
A nice bag. So let's open this one. And here we have another package. Look at that, perfectly packed. Great. So let's open this one. And surprise, surprise.
I bet it's an oriented meteorite.
You know, if it's Marco, it's going to be.
Here we go. Oh, wow. Look at that. A nice oriented HED.
Ooh.
Okay, guys, so now we unboxed the piece. And of course, now I want to show you a detailed view on this wonderful meteorite. So as you can see, it's of course an oriented meteorite. It's an HED, it shows a very glossy and fresh fusion crust. It shows nice flow lines here on the front side.
Man.
What is interesting, it shows also a rollover lip here on the front side.
Shouldn't be there.
It shows radial flow lines on the back side, so this points to a double orientation. Not sure about that, but maybe. And as you can see, also here on the back side, the piece is covered with gray fusion crust and flow lines all over around. I would say it's about maybe 95% crusted.
It's remarkable.
It shows some windows, which is interesting because we can have a look inside the piece. Of course, I will never cut it. Never cut the oriented meteorite.
Here, here. Rump, rump, rump.
But maybe we can see something under the microscope.
Wow, it's gorgeous, man.
So the macroscopic view of that piece is really great. Okay, so let's have a look through the microscope. Yeah, here we go. That's the view through the microscope. First, what you can see is that very nice glossy and shiny fusion crust.
Super thin.
Here and there we can see some crystals shining through the crust. And of course the flow lines, look at that.
Splash.
Flow lines over flow lines.
Wow. Oh my God.
That is the part of the stone with that rollover lip on the front side, which points or maybe points to a double orientation of the piece. Also, the backside is very interesting. You can see contraction cracks. Also here the crystals. And again, flow lines over flow lines.
Oh, wow.
That's unique.
Here we come to an interesting area of the piece, because here we have a little window, and that window shows or gives us an idea which type of meteorite this could be. I think what it is clear is that it is an HED, and here we can see two features. On the left hand side we see an eucritic structure. In the middle we can see a polymic fracture, and here right now in the center we have a green crystal, and this is for sure an autopyroxene crystal, which points to a diogenitic origin. So we have eucritic and diogenitic features, so I guess that this piece might be an Howardite. But as I mentioned before, I will never cut this piece. It will not be classified, because, yeah, look at that. I cannot cut this piece, never ever.
Nine. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, here again on this picture I marked the features, which leads me to say that this might be an Howardite.
That's amazing information.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Look at it. It looks like sheets.
Yeah, I have to say that the meteorite year 2021 started perfect. We will see what other candies the year will bring. And from this now here, I wish you a great hangout. Have fun, guys. And see you next week. Bye-bye from Germany.
See you, Marco. Man, that's amazing. He made such quality content. And you know, if they're going to make the content every week and participate every week, man, thumbs up and thank you very much, because that's some great information from both of our international guests. I wanted to show a few slides of pictures that I took over the last couple of days. So this is my wife's Christmas present to me. 20 grams of lunar, known as the stained glass lunar, because you can see through the glass. So there's a little collage I put together of that one, and then see if anyone can guess the class of this next one.
All the same meteorite?
These are all the same meteorite.
A little CK-ish. I don't think it's CO, because it's got too many fractures and stuff.
There's not even a C in the name. We're in the class. This is undergoing classification, but currently it is a Rumuruti.
Rumuruti, yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a large Rumuruti, my largest one. Beautiful, beautiful chondrule structure. And then on the you'll see on the right hand side there's that rectangle inclusion. Then right below that you see in the big picture, this big picture right here, you see the fusion crust. But you see these right here. There's one there, and a third one here. And I have a highlighted one right here. Those are actually impact scuffs in the hot liquid fusion crust.
Wow.
Wow.
I have no other way to describe it. I looked at it, and Pat, when I get my new microscope piece, I will look
Yeah.
at it under the microscope.
Yeah,
But from
absolutely.
what I looked at so far under my magnification, it does not appear to be. There's not enough crust on this piece that you would use that as the clamping area to cut.
Mm.
So it doesn't look like it's a clamping area artifact. It looks like because there is crust below it, and yeah. So something I want to discover and take a little bit further look at. I didn't know that I'd be showing this one to you guys today live. The potential buyer asked me to show it off a little bit on live, so that's why I included this one.
How much of that suspected Rumuruti do you have?
I have this one piece.
Okay.
It's 280 grams, yes,
Wow.
something like that.
Nice.
Maybe it's either 180, 280, I forget, something like that.
Nice.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
a nice, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
stone. I want to get more.
Yeah. Yeah. And that one might even go sub type 3 as well. I've got
Yeah.
I got the main mass of a 3.7 Rumuruti.
When you see all the little tight chondrules in there, and then like this whole swatch is different than this this down here is different.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a beautiful, very dreamy looking stone. I get lost in it. It was I try to limit myself to the numbers of photographs I take per meteorite for inventory, but for personal collection, I kind of go a little bit, 12 or 16 is, a lot, maybe 20. I have 57 of this one. So here's another one that I showed off last week, but I just had a chance to photograph it this week. So we got Churgach, the melt.
Yeah.
And I had to capture it in photos, and you see up in the upper right hand corner how vesicular the melt is. In the center top picture, you see in between the swatches of melt, there's shock veins right here. So you have this entire area was affected, but there's a shock vein going through here that's surrounded by the melt, which is pretty nice. Just a beautiful piece. Something we talked about last week was was meteorite insurance. So I had a collector friend of mine tell me about this company. Excuse me. I'm going to pause the live. So we just watched the commercial for that company. I didn't want to put it on the live. If you are interested in insuring your collection of anything, I'm not a salesman for the company, but it seems like an alternative to what I've seen in the past. And I believe that is the end of the slideshow for today. So, yes.
One quick question. Lloyd's of London, they were insurers of practically everything that was uninsurable in the world. Would meteorites be something that would fall under Lloyd's of London, or would it have to be a substantial collection?
Well, to answer your question, I would ask you, when you go to shop for your car, do you first go to the Ferrari and Lambo dealerships, or do you go to something that you can afford?
I live in the Soho, the poor man neighborhood.
Yeah. So no, unless you're talking, several millions of dollars, they don't want to waste their time with small time collectors.
One more question, Topher, on this. Do they take your word for the value of the collection, or do they need an appraisal, or what?
I know nothing about them whatsoever, other than their existence.
Okay.
And a friend brought them to my attention yesterday after watching our live and said, wait, there is an alternative. There's a company made just for collectibles. So that's why I left the collectibles insurance, whatever the company was. So you can visit their webpage or call them. And they say 3 minutes. So I don't know how in the world you can insure something in 3 minutes, and but I'm going to leave that to them. I'm not. If I sell anything on these things, which I try not to, it's going to be this kind of stuff. Okay, it's not going to be insurance. I do not want to be an insurance salesman. Trust me.
I have to get a couple of those shirts from you, Topher, in tall, extra large.
Yeah, if you look in the description, 30-second sales pitch. If you look in the description of any of my YouTube videos,
Right.
now that you are a subscriber,
Right.
in the description on the very bottom, after all the science, the very last thing you'll see is for official Topher Spin merch, click here.
Yeah.
And you can literally pick your size, your color, your design. There's 4,000 different varieties that you can put together out there. I even have little onesies for little kids that says "My dad collects meteorites." I mean,
How about pets?
I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, there's a little something out there for everyone. I love this shirt right here.
Yep.
That's the colorful logo, but it also has on the back "Collect Space."
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, whether I'm coming or going, you know, I'm collecting.
There you go. Thank you.
I saw Mike Kelly's hand up. Should I come to you, Mike?
Sure. Yeah, I have a junior member who wants to show you something.
Nice.
1 second. Tell him what that is. Sayim Chen.
Same Chen.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Very nice.
Turn it around so they can see the etch. There you go.
Cool.
There you
And
go,
how
very
many
nice.
iron meteorites do you have in your collection?
I have 2 iron meteorites.
Nice. So
Yeah.
is that in your collection? That's not your dad's?
I got my own collection.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
that's all yours, right?
That is awesome.
Excellent.
Right back, Daddy.
Okay, you put it back. Yeah, those are her own pieces.
That's awesome. Thanks, buddy. That's super cool to see.
Daddy,
We always try to get the youth involved with whenever possible. So, you know, if you have a kid in your life that has never held a meteorite, reach out to me. You know, maybe I'll send you one. So, anyone else have something that they would like to show off, bring up, or discuss?
I have one just real quick thing. So, you know, the bane of our existence seems to be autofocus and cameras. But if we can provide a plane for the thing to focus on, oops, I've got to switch to the correct camera. If we can put a plane behind the thing to focus on, it does much better.
Oh, a great idea.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's not too bad there.
Yeah.
Still too much noise in this camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it makes a big difference.
Ongoing experiment.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, right now I have my little photo studio set up right here, and that's honestly where most of my photos are taken. I mean, you don't need a huge studio when everything, you know, when you're doing just a, you know, 50-gram piece. Look at that, put it back in perfect. I think that is all that I really, you know what, I took one other thing out, and it'd be silly not to show it because I went through the trouble of taking it out. So let me show you this one last show and tell item, and then we're probably gonna, wow, I don't even know if I can open this. There we go. Yeah, so after this, unless anyone has anything else to show off, we're probably gonna call it a night. But check out these beauties. This, I'll show you the small one first.
What character that has.
So this one, these are golden Pallasites.
Ooh, yeah. Look
Yeah.
at those
Great.
So let me,
pretty olivines in there.
yeah, I had that when I was shot in a nice natural hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is not my classification. This is not the odd numbered golden Pallasite. This is just NWA golden Pallasite. But and there you can see some of the golden tint on the patina, thus giving it its name. But
does anybody else see that crazy face in that one? That was crazy. Do you see that right there on the left side? He's looking down at your thumbnail.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh wait, right in the middle.
No, he's kind of over to the left. The top of his head's to the left.
That
His
right
nose
there?
is. No, keep moving it over
No.
to the left
To the left would be here.
and up a little bit. That'd be like his chin, and then his nose would be over to a little bit farther to the left, like right on the edge.
Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah. See
So
him
now,
now?
yeah. So now he's looking
Yeah.
straight to the.
Right.
He's got a pompadour too.
The old man and the meteorite.
Wow, good eyeball. So
Alien.
that's just over 10 grams. Now this absolute gorgeous. I want to be Pat and I want to round up, but I tried breathing on this scale and it will not go to 28. Yeah, I can't get it on the scale to go to 28, but this is my 28-ish gram golden Pallasite.
Sweet.
You know, that one would make a spectacular piece of jewelry.
When you pry it out of my dead hand.
Make a spectacular piece of artwork to hang on the wall enlarged.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's funny that you mentioned that.
Ah,
Yeah, it's
Who do
not
we
coming
have
in
here?
focus, but yeah. So there's some of my meteorites right over there. But yeah, this one is just pure cosmic art.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't think I've ever shown this off on a live, and I don't think I've shared pictures online in a long time. So figured I'd reach back into the collection. Look at that. You can screen save that right there, buddy.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, just an absolute gorgeous meteorite. And at first I thought that was a hunk of sand stuck in there, but it's olivine.
Sweet.
Yeah, so just a beautiful gem from space. Pat, did you agree with me, or would you agree with me that that was an olivine or a grain of sand?
Oh, I think it's an olivine. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's quite possible that it's a little sand-blasted, little
yeah.
shaped by blowing sand.
Correct.
And you can see above it, there are some very small, typical Sahara round grains of sand. But yeah, absolutely. That's a piece of olivine.
All right. Yeah, I did want to get your opinion on that. I didn't want to speak so boldly. So awesome. Let me do one thing real quick. All right, guys. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us today. It was a great hangout. If we didn't get to your piece, if we didn't get to your subject, that's fine. We have next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. This is like our 36th, 35th in a row without missing them. And it's all thanks to you guys on that screen right there. So thank you very much. Maxime, thank you, sir. Long distance, you're joining us, long distance, middle of the night with some really good content. So thank you, buddy. You're a good friend.
Thanks to you. It was great.
Okay. Everyone, have a good evening. Take care,
Bye,
bye.
everybody. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Next week. Bye-bye.
See you, James.
Bye.
See you, Ron.
Adios.